And new tonight, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is offering a glimmer of hope, not just in the country, but to everyone all across the world. And our 44 News reporter Courtney Green met with a professor at the University of Southern Indiana who's reflecting on what this deal could mean for the future.
Today, I spoke to USI political science professor Dr. Trent Engbers about the new development that could bring a new era of peace to the Israel-Hamas war. Dr. Engbers lived in Israel for a few months before the war broke out and was able to give me some background on this complicated event through the lens of an Evansville professor.
When I talk to my Israeli colleagues today, the thing that they always keep coming back to is the hostages.
Having lived in Israel from January to May of 2023, Engbers saw firsthand the divides across religious, ethnic, and economic lines before the 15 months of war.
I imagine as a father, as a husband, to think about someone that I love not knowing the state of where they're at, not knowing whether they're healthy, not knowing whether they're alive. That is incredibly traumatic type of experience.
He explained that the history of the economic opportunities differ significantly between Arabs and Jewish people, creating barriers that intensify the sociological and religious dynamics in that region.
There are very few places in this world that have more history and culture and tradition. If you're interested in the arts, if you're interested in religion, if you're interested in history, there's a lot to be said about the things that are going on in Israel.
Prior to the formation of the State of Israel, Palestinians lived in that territory for thousands of years.
The history of Israel and Palestine is one as old as civilization. I mean, you can start in the Bible and think about the relationship between Arabs and Jews throughout the Old Testament.
He says as of today that theological and historical attachment to the land continues to fuel tensions that we are seeing today.
And so you have this tension that exists between these two groups, a tension that is historical, but a tension that is still contemporary.
Dr. Engbers says he hopes the first phase in the ceasefire deal will bring even more cooperation from both sides.
I think the release of hostages that we'll hopefully see over the next few weeks will be a sign of good faith and hopefully cooperation moving forward between Hamas and the Israeli government.
Engbers also highlighted how Jewish Israelis are, by law, required to participate in military service.
Being in the military is where you meet people. It's where you build connections. It's where you build relationships. It's where you become Israeli. And most Arabs do not participate in mandatory military service. And as a result, they miss all of that social capital, that opportunity to connect with people who can open doors and create opportunities.
He says it's too early to see how successful the ceasefire will be due to the several attempts.
I would say that it's a little premature to know exactly how successful it would be. It needs to be ratified, the details need to be publicized, and there has to be adherence to it before we can say, yes, this is a solution to the problem that we're facing. But I think for anybody, the release of hostages, the end of conflict, the increase in humanitarian aid, those are successes that we should all be working towards.
Reporting in Evansville, Courtney Green, 44 News.